Hello good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here. Today I'm bringing you my final impressions video on the Tier 8 Premium British Battleship Vanguard. Yes, the Vanguard, the ship that went from being a complete steaming pile of crap when it was first announced through wargaming listings of people's feedback, and now we have the ship that we have in the game today, which in my opinion is a pretty dang good ship. The problem is, though, when this thing gets up tiered to tier 10, it's a big oof, and we'll talk more on that later. So, you get 8 15-inch guns that are pretty dang accurate and have normal battleship AP and HE. So right out of the gate, that's a huge plus for me on this ship. You don't have that British Royal Navy short fuse AP, because I feel if they went with the short fuse AP on just 8 15-inch guns on a tier 8 battleship, that would have been a big drawback for me, especially on a premium battleship. No, I'm looking at you, Monarch. Anyway, so the guns are accurate, they have normal AP, which means you can actually get some pretty good pins on battleships with this thing. And you will be overpinning cruisers a bit more, well, way more than you would in any other British battleship. But this also isn't an HE slinging battleship, and I'm very much grateful to Wargaming for that, because even with the premiums like the Nelson, that thing's an absolute HE spammer. And the Warspite, thankfully it has normal AP too, so I'm glad they, and there's a lot of things that from the Warspite that the Vanguard has. I mean, they're the same guns, the same caliber. I mean, in real life they were Warspite guns. I mean, because for those of you that don't know, the Vanguard is pretty much a Lion class battleship, the actual real life Lion class battleship. But they didn't have the 16-inch guns ready in time, so they had to use the 15-inch guns that they had laying around, and they're literally Warspite type of guns that they just slapped onto a Lion class battleship. So in going along that route, that talking point, whatever, she also has the Warspite heal, so it's not a LOL heal, and it's not a normal heal. It's that Warspite. It's a really good heal, but it's not the, oh, I need a new battleship, and then you start 3D printing a new battleship right there. No, it's a really good heal, and that I'm really glad that they gave it that heal, because this ship is squishy. And if you look at the size of it, it's pretty dang big for a tier 8. And that's a lot of real estate for destroyers, cruisers, battleships to shoot at. So you will be taking a fair amount of damage in this ship. But that's why I say throw Adrenaline Rush on this thing and roll with it, because you can have a 25-second reload on your main battery guns, put Adrenaline Rush on there, you know, every time you take damage, reload just quicker and quicker, and you can have around a 20-second reload when you're at about a quarter health, give or take a second or two, and that's really nice, especially when you have such a small caliber of guns, fighting in tier 10 games a lot. You're going to be needing that fast reload. And the thing about this ship getting up to tier 10, with the server changes, with the matchmaking changes, I feel it has gotten a little better. It really depends upon what time you play. So if you're playing on the weekends, like midday, late day, at night, you're going to be in way more tier 8 games. Well, you should be in way more tier 8 games than you would have a couple of weeks ago. That's been my experience for sure. I would say it's instead of being like say I played 10 games, instead of being in 7 tier 10 games in those 10 games that I played, I'm in tier 10 games, maybe five games out of 10 games, which it doesn't sound like a huge difference, but I mean it's a lot less frustrating when you're no longer constantly being up tiered and you're only being up tiered maybe half the time. It feels a lot better. However, I play a lot in the mornings because I have to get all of my week's videos done in a day or two, so I get up fairly early and start recording then, which is what happened to this footage you're watching on the screen now. This was recorded at like 8 o'clock in the morning. The games I got, one game, it was me and another Vanguard. That was the only tier 8 games in the tier 8 game. That was the only tier 8 ships in the game. Everything else was tier 10. Like, I kid you not. I think there was 2 tier 9s. There was a Missouri and I think an Iowa, and maybe a destroyer or two. But every single other ship in the game was a tier 10. That was rough. Same thing happened the next team, except we had 2 tier 8s instead of 2 tier 8s on each team instead of just 1 tier 8 on each team. So it seems that this matchmaking has caused it to where when you get up tiered in a tier 8 battleship or any tier 8 ship, you get up tiered to where it's no longer just maybe half the ships in the game are tier 10s and the other half are tier 8 or in a couple of tier 9s. It's like you're just surrounded by tier 10 ships and they're ready to beat the snot out of you, and that will happen. They will target you first because you're the damaged pinata. So I'm not too sure how this matchmaking is going, because now, man, if you play at early or maybe really late at night, you get really screwed. So yeah, take that into consideration. You may want to wait until the evening or night to play in your Vanguard. I know that's really frustrating for some people, especially me too, because of my schedules. I can't really pick too much when I want to play. But anyway, when she does get up tiered, all I have to say to you guys is this: never stop moving. This ship is way too maneuverable for you to just sit there and try to tank, because you can't tank when you get up to a tier 10 game because of your squishiness. Keep moving. Use that rudder shift time. Use your WASD hacks. Use that 9.2 rudder shift time. I can't tell you guys how many times I've dodged salvos that probably would have deleted me because I was just dancing around with the rudder. Use that to your advantage. Don't let that rudder go to waste. And that's the best way to avoid being obliterated in a tier 10 game. And again, with that rudder, you can do some really cool torpedo beats. As long as you have some inkling of where the torpedoes are coming from, you can easily get out of their way or go in between them. It's really fun. Unfortunately, I don't have any compilation of torpedo beats for you guys this time because I was in mostly tier 10 games when I was recording, so I stayed pretty far back. Well, far back for me at least, because you guys know I like to get in there and brawl. So I did try to stay as medium distance away from the caps and the destroyers and all that jazz. So is she worth it? Knowing that when you get up tiered, it's really rough. But, I mean, if you play mostly, like, on the evenings, you'll be okay for that. That's really only a problem I've encountered, because of just the really wonky times that I get up and record and play. I feel that, yeah, she is worth it, because it's a fun premium ship, and it's a premium that's different. Like, it's not just like the Bismarck and the Tirpitz. It's pretty much the same ship, except Bismarck has Tirpitz has a different paint job and torpedoes and less AA. There only like 2 things are changed on the Tirpitz and the Bismarck. Same with the Prince of Wales and the King George V. They're pretty much the same ship, except Prince of Wales has a slightly longer reload time and a faster fire extinguishing time. Pretty much the same ship. Vanguard is truly unique, as there's not a clone of Vanguard in the line. I mean, you can argue that the line is, but there are differences there. And it's a unique ship. It's of the British line, but it has characteristics that aren't of the British line, like the Massachusetts. Massachusetts is an American battleship. Instead of having really accurate main battery guns, she has German levels of dispersion, German levels of secondaries, and she has a really quick cooldown on her heel, and great AA. Vanguard has the AA from the British line. She has the normal AP. She has the rudder shift time of a frickin' cruiser. So she's really unique, and yeah, I think she's a good premium, and I think she's worth the money. And for me at least, she's a really enjoyable ship to play when I'm not up tiered in her. Because if you get in a tier 8 game with this ship, you're gonna do great. And I don't mean like OP, easy win, GG great. I mean, if you have skill, I'm not like Unicum skill. If you have just average skill, you're gonna do great in this ship. You can't. It's not the Conqueror where you can derp. That's what I mean by skill. You can't just go derping around and like you can in Conqueror and get like 100k damage. If you just decent, you're gonna do great in her in a tier 8 game. And she feels comfortable. I feel comfortable in her when I play in a tier 8 game. In a tier 10 game, you have to do a bit more dancing with WASD. So that's the final impressions of the Vanguard. Good ship, worth the money. Oh, she's also really stealthy. I should probably mention that before I end the review. She's also really stealthy if a stealth build for her. I don't have the skill yet, so I believe you can get her down to about 12 kilometers, but that skill is getting nerfed anyway, so you're sitting at about a 14 to 13 kilometer detection range, depending upon how much they nerf the skill whenever they do that. So again, great ship, worth the money, fun to play. That's my final impressions of the Vanguard. So if you liked the video, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. We're on our way to 1,500 subscribers, and we're well on our way there. We passed 1,000 last week. Actually, so when this video comes out, it'll be a week and a day since we passed 1,000 subscribers, and we're already, I think by the time I'm recording this, we're at like 1,030 subscribers, so I can't thank you guys enough for that. So again, thank you all so very, very much for watching, and I'll catch all of you guys in the next one.